This is Glory FM 97.1, transmitting live from Yenagoa. Here in the studio, we have the countryman governor, His Excellency Governor Henry Dickson. Well, we've been waiting all this while, and we almost thought the governor wouldn't be able to make it, but this is a governor that keeps to his promises. When he says, I'm going to do it, he does it. That's why we call him the Atokunadu governor. Your Excellency, you're welcome to Glory FM 97.1.
Thank you very much for having me.
Your Excellency, this is the first time of coming here.
Yes, as governor, but no, I've been here several times before in the course of my campaigns and in the course of my political service to the state. I've been here before, so I'm quite familiar with your studio.
Okay, Your Excellency, how has it been being on the hot seat for almost 2 years?
Well, first of all, let me thank my country people, good people of Bayelsa. Let me congratulate you all on a very successful Thanksgiving Day that we have just observed. I want to also congratulate and appreciate all of you for the support that my government has received from you so far. You asked how has it been? It's been very exciting. I've had an opportunity in the past close to 2 years now. In 3 months' time, I'll be 2 years in office. I've had an opportunity to try to make a difference. And I believe that already there's some difference. A lot of people attest to it. But for me, the credit really should go to the people of the states and God Almighty, from whom all good things flow. It's been exciting.
Yes, sir. Your campaign slogan was restoration.
Yes.
Restoration agenda. And so far, some people say the restoration agenda is on course. Some people actually have applauded you. There are also, of course, your critics who say that you have done enough, particularly here in the state capital. How do you react to that, sir?
Well, as a matter of fact, the inquiries that I receive more often than not have to do with that I'm doing too much, not that I'm not doing enough or too little. I think the reverse is the case. People are actually shocked that I'm even doing so much. Sometimes they even worry where I get the funds from. There are several speculations I hear. The rumor mill is very active in this state. People say the headquarters of the rumor factory is in Bayelsa, but as governor of Bayelsa, I say no. But I believe that the headquarters of the rumor mill, the rumor machine, is close to Bayelsa State. It's not in Bayelsa State though. And there are so many speculations. I mean, are we sure this guy is not getting extra money from the federal? And they forget that federation account is transparently done. So the reality is that we are actually biting so much. Any criticism that we're not doing enough, to me, is baseless. I don't bother myself about those things. I don't worry myself about negative comments from detractors, people who don't see anything good about what is happening. I mean, even when so much is happening, you can decide to shut your eyes and then be negative and dwell in negativity. There are a few people like that, but the overwhelming majority of our people appreciate what we are doing.
Yes. Your Excellency, you recall that the restoration agenda, I was there during your campaigns at several fora. You said it's going to be education, 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 education. Yeah. And even during your inauguration, you also said it was going to be education. I was also at the night of your inauguration, and when you were speaking, you talked about education. What is the policy thrust on education as far as your administration is concerned?
Well, let me tell you what we've been doing on education. As a matter of fact, investment in education is not something that yields immediate results. But in less than 2 years, do you know, Friston, that you have almost 140 PhD scholars from Bayelsa in various universities across the world. Across the world. 140, about between 137 to 140 students in less than 2 years. That is a record. We have over 300 master's degree students on scholarship in various universities across the world. Now, that does not even take into account the primary school students, about 250, 300, which are on government scholarship in various top secondary schools in this country. On top of it, you are aware that I just recently returned from Lincoln, and in 2 weeks' time, the president of Lincoln will lead his officials here to begin the process of selecting the first batch of undergraduates that will be sending to the United States. I'm also in the process of identifying one or two other universities in the UK, and maybe one in Canada, because we want to flood the world with Bayelsa Ijaw scholars, and we're bent on doing that. Do you know that we have built, and we're in the process of building, and almost concluding and putting to use 40 secondary schools with boarding facilities? 25 of them we call constituency secondary schools with boarding facilities. As I speak to you, construction of the classrooms completed in most of the cases. The dormitories completed. They are constructing the refectories and the kitchens. And in a couple of months, all those projects will be ready. We have concluded, a lot of work is going on the model secondary schools at the local government headquarters. And Bayelsans know what is happening, because these things are not limited only to the state capital. Every state constituency has a boarding school, which in the next 1 or 2 or 3 months will be completed. Now, you've got to first build the infrastructure. You talked about policy. Merely making a pronouncement is not it. You've got to invest in the infrastructure. The infrastructure simply wasn't there. The policy simply wasn't there. We are building a teachers training school institute from scratch. The first in this country, the teachers training institute. It's almost ready. A lot of blocks are ready. So much is going on. If you have been to St. Jude's, for example, this is one of our oldest girls' school at Amarata, just here. Go there and see what is going on. Not to talk of the building of the primary school buildings that are going on all over the state, and the teachers' quarters going on all over the state. I know how much I approve for education, investment in educational infrastructure. Now, Christian, let's move forward. If you have the infrastructure in place, and you have the policy in place, and you have the inspectorate, which we have set up, do you know that every morning there are people in every school who check teachers who come to work? We check what they teach, what they record. And we also check attendance, and we obtain statistics of students, and so on. By the time we developed this, because all of this was not there. So when I mentioned free education, when I mentioned declared a state of emergency in education, I knew what I was doing. But I also knew that I had to come up with the capacity to carry out this policy. I had to come up with the infrastructure, rebuild the infrastructure that was not there. We were not building schools, and we've got to build these schools. By the time we complete this first phase of it, then I can assure you, in the next 10, 15, 20 years, these states may not need to make this investment again. Spend a lot of money building these schools, but that's the right investment to do. That's the right investment. So much work is going on. We're supplying textbooks. The parents know. Bayelsa parents who have students, who have children in schools know. At primary school levels, we're supplying books, we're supplying even textbooks. We are even supplying uniforms. As I speak to you, the process of sewing these uniforms, local government by local government, has started. We have decentralized the process. Now, these are not things that you just bring into existence by proclamation. No, They take time. But the policy trust must be known, and then the mechanism for executing it must be there. Now, we have had governors all along. So what I've been able to do in this less than 2 years is there. So you assess, yes, critics will be there, but some of them had an opportunity to make a difference. So also find time to ask them. Because if they had an opportunity to make a difference for 4 or 5 years, and for some of them more than that, and they didn't, which is why we're in the present state of emergency, then people should ask questions. But the point is that our programs and policies on education are on course. I'm committed to it. We are committing a lot of time and resources to it. And that is the right thing to do, and we're not wavering.
Okay, for those of us who are listening to this program on Glory FM 97.1, this is the maiden edition of the program, The Hot Seat, and we have the countryman governor, His Excellency Governor Henry Serake Dickson, here in the studio. Now, for those of us who are listening and will want to participate by way of asking questions, making suggestions, or making observations on this program, you could please dial this number 081 623 69405. I'll take the number again 081 623 69405 or 0808 467 8581. I'll repeat 0808 467 8581. The lines are open. Your Excellency, when you also came into office, you introduced this policy of transparency. And I was reading in one of the newspapers, and they said probably you came in with these. One analyst in the newspapers said Governor Dickson came in with the policy of transparency, apparently because of his background as an Ijaw activist. Is that true?
Well, partly true, but that's not the whole picture. I am aware, as you are, about the unfortunate history of our state, particularly in the recent past. And I have always believed, particularly as a proponent, one of the main proponents of the Freedom of Information Law, that the citizens of our country have a right to know issues about the management of their finances and how public resources and authorities utilize. And I thought that we should encourage our partners, we should create an atmosphere of confidence, not just for the citizenry, but also for people that we deal with. And for me, I'm committed to it. It's like an experiment that you are not sure of what you submit yourself to. I mean, as a governor, I'm the only governor who does that in this country. If I were doing that and doing some of the things I'm doing in some other states, the whole country, everywhere will be talking about, because this is Bayelsa. This is Ijaw land, where sometimes in Ijaw land, we're a country where everybody is a leader, and there's a lot of cynicism and negativity. But these are things that people appreciate so much. That is the right thing to do. I followed it up with a law because I don't want, after my tenure, I don't want anybody who will take us back to those dark days where people just speculate about what comes in and what goes out of the state. Because I'm prepared to make that personal sacrifice, which I'm doing. Officials working with me are also making that sacrifice. Things are not done according to business as usual anymore. And that comes with a lot of sacrifice. I appreciate that, but that's the right thing to do. And the mechanism of transparency and prudence that we have instituted also enables me to preserve government's scarce resources and plow them into areas of priority need. Because as I said, education that we talked about a short while ago is the single most important priority. Because once we succeed in educating our people, I believe that by next year, first quarter next year, when our infrastructure is completed in all these schools, and then we move to the most revolutionary aspect of the educational policy, which is that we'll start to incubate the young minds from JS3. We take them from SS1, put them in these boarding secondary schools we are building, and then deploy our teachers, good teachers and so on, concentrate on them and prepare them for 3 years.
Like gifted children?
Yes, like gifted children. They will all be state scholars. We are going to feed them. It's a very revolutionary program that is coming. By the time we do that, we would have changed the society. So transparency is good, prudence is good, because it's helping me to save money and plow scarce resources to these areas that have the capacity to change the destiny of this state once and for all. If we educate, if we succeed in educating our people, if we create an environment of enlightened people, then would have saved the state.
Okay, Your Excellency, the calls are coming. Hello? Please, there is a...
My name is Amari.
Sorry, come again?
My name is Amari.
Do us a favor, just shift away from your radio set so that we can hear each other, please.
Hello?
Yes. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, your question, please. Hello? Hello? Well, Your Excellency, is like we missed that. Now, what informed the decision of some policies that you introduced? For instance, let's take a look at the new tax regime.
Well, let me tell you, there's no new tax regime, and this is important. You live in a state in Bayelsa where everything is free. People don't pay light bills, don't pay water rates. They want everything free. Now, all these scholars, nearly 140 of them outside, are people's children. They are people's brothers and sisters. They are my citizens. I'm their governor. We are taking the responsibility of making a better life for them at great cost. Some of them left this country for the first time, and their lives will never be the same again. Same for 300 master's degree students that are out of the country. Same for the over 300 primary school pupils who are now in top secondary schools. Same for the money we are spending for uniforms, for books, for everything. And yet, Bayelsa people have a culture of getting everything free and not being willing sometimes even their own quota. It's not just in Bayelsa. People don't pay tax in Nigeria. But in Bayelsa, what we discovered from the report of the Finance Committee chaired by Chief Dopola, which looked into this matter, they were concerned about the low revenue base of the state. And every Bayelsan should be concerned about this. It's not a question for Governor Dickson alone. But as I keep saying, we are the stakeholders. One of us will be governor from time to time. I happen to be the governor now. But we should be concerned about beefing up the revenue profile of our states. Now you have states where people apply the federal law, which is the Personal Income Tax Act. And you guys in Bayelsa were circumventing it. You were circumventing it. Maybe you were thinking that the federal allocation is enough and it's the governor's business to develop the state or decide not to develop the state. And it seems to me that there are few Bayelsans who are happy that the state remains as it is, stagnant and backward, provided a system is created that enables them to get unfair advantages, free money, and including evading tax. Now, I am not that kind of person. I believe that all of us have a shared responsibility. I do my work from morning till midnight, 2, 3 before I sleep. I would have been here earlier. I've been signing agreements with people, creating an oil conglomerate that will enable Bayelsa, the only state for now, to go into big-time oil and gas ventures. So we are doing a lot of things, spending a lot of time to think and plan for your welfare. Now, we have adjusted. I said that there should be compliance with the tax laws of this country. If there is anybody who wants to be a governor, who wants to be a leader of this state, who tells you otherwise, then you should be careful with that person. Because in all other places, people take keen interest in playing their own role as law-abiding citizens of their societies. And the first duty of every law-abiding citizen is payment of tax. Now, we're only talking about those in the public sector. Very soon, we will also extend to others who are outside the public service. Public servants will have a lot of benefits. You can see the secure and safe environment that now exists in Bayelsa. That takes money. We have introduced the health insurance. We are working on the infrastructure. When it starts, you will see that public servants who are paying this tax, from what they pay, they are going to get a lot of benefits. I know what I spend taking care of the health of people. and very soon that facility will be open to all public sector. So many benefits are there. We never introduced any new tax. What we said is that people must comply with the existing tax laws of this country.
Okay. Your Excellency, we have more calls coming in. Hello? 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 Hello, sir. Well, Your Excellency, can we take a look at every government, every administration that comes in undertakes a verification exercise of the workforce. I recall the last administration did something like that and even issued identity cards to workers. And on inception, your administration also did a similar thing. How effective has this verification exercise been?
Well, I would like you to judge me by what I do. You are entitled to be guided by your history, but your history should also tell you the difference between governors and the difference between governors. I have been in office for not up to 2 years, but I believe that you know the difference.
So far, so good.
I am not somebody who toys with things that I get involved with. I never leave anything half done. I'm not known for failure. I'm not known for half measures. I do things thoroughly. It's either I do something well or I don't do it at all. Now, knowing me, therefore, you should know that if what I met on ground was good enough, I would have run with it. But I've seen that there were lots of lapses in that system. The idea of the verification as introduced by my predecessor was good. That was the right move. But the implementation was flawed. The implementation was flawed. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had a situation where at the time I started, we had a wage bill of over 5.something billion, which has now come to 3 point something, even without biometric verification.
And you still want to scale it down?
Oh yes, no, not scaling it down, verifying it scientifically, and then establishing a scientific and verifiable base for our manpower development and other projections. That is important. That's in the interest of all of us. I'm the first worker. Yesterday I appeared before the verification team myself with the deputy governor, and I started it. Let me use this opportunity to call on all workers in the public sector to avail themselves, because it has a lot of advantages. Your tax records will be there, your health insurance benefits will be keyed into it, even access and exit from work will be guided by it.
So it makes it easier when one is retired.
It makes it easier when you are retiring. We want to reorder the state. You see, we took a lot of things for granted. By the time this state was created and we just came down, we never really sat down to develop systems and processes. You know, that's part of my responsibility. So as part of the ongoing reforms and changes, we are addressing those elements. And I want to call on people to take advantage of that. The exercise will go on for a long time. It's not something that will begin and end as the previous ones did. No, we are allowing people between now and the end of December. You have a long time. If you say you are a worker, no problem. If tomorrow is not convenient, the next day will be convenient. If the next day is not convenient, the next day will be. If this week is not good for you, next week is good for you. If this month is not okay for you, December will be okay for you. But by 31st of December, and all of you listening should take this seriously, by 31st of December, if you have not gone through this process, know that from January, we will not be in a position to budget for your emoluments. So everybody should come. It's in our best interest.
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
How are you?
I am fine. Your name, sir? Your name and where you are calling from, sir? Okay, your name and where you are calling from, sir?
Mr. Johnny Sayo.
Okay, from where, sir?
From Mokolo.
Okay, go on, sir.
Okay. Sister, the use of Biafra, there is a serious unemployment problem we have here. I want to ask the governor whether he is doing anything about it. Because a lot of youths who are unemployed. And so for the past maybe 10 or 8 years, they have not lifted embargo in Bayelsa State on unemployment. What is happening? I know the government have tried very well in other sectors of the state, but he has not made any effort to see what he will do to help the youths, those of us that have graduated from university. Thank you very much.
Okay. Your Excellency, there are more calls coming in. I don't know whether you want
Let me take this first.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Thank you for your kind words of encouragement. Now, you need to know that, first of all, the basic facts are this. It's not possible for this government, this state, or any other state, or any other government at the state or federal level to employ every graduate or non-graduate youth. That is not possible. I share your concerns. What I've done since coming into office is because I know this as a problem. We have actually employed a lot of people. Maybe you are not aware. I have directed that more teachers be employed. And over 300 science and computer teachers have been recruited. I have directed that about 200 young men and women be employed to be part of preservation of our forestry heritage. That has been done. I have also directed that more protocol staff be recruited. About 50 of them have been selected and they are going through the process of employment. Now I've directed also that all medical doctors and medically qualified personnel should be employed because we have a shortage of medical manpower. Now even with those employment in the medical area, I still need to employ more people. I'm actually talking with several other agencies to see how they can send medical personnel to support us. Because Johnny, you need to know that we are building medical facilities all across the state because that has to be done. So we are going to employ. I've also directed that because of the magnitude of construction work going on in the state, the Ministry of Works and other related technical staff in the public service cannot cope with the supervision or inspection of these projects because they've never seen this type of massive work before. Now, the bureaucracy was not prepared for this. So I've directed that all qualified engineers. So if you're an engineer, Johnny, and you want to be in the public service, you've got a job today. I've said that all engineers, all architects, all quantity surveyors, all these technical people that we need should report, and I think that data have been collected. Now let me also tell you this. As I came on board, maybe you don't know, I had a lot to do with youth issues also in my younger days. What I said was that we should develop a data bank. And as I speak to you, the data committee worked. I've approved money for them. They did a great job. The data before me indicates that about 50,000 young people registered. We have their data. Do you know that I keep sending those names for various employment and trainings like that? We do it without announcing. That's why you think nothing is being done. Within this short period, we have actually done, well, that's not even to talk of the several appointments that I have given to youths to get them involved. No government has involved the young people of this state in the running of their affairs more than what we have done. The senior special assistants on youth development matters in local SSAs on youth development matters, youth development committees, and all what have you. But that is not enough. That is not enough. I know that you are concerned, but going forward, and that's why I did what I did today by signing this agreement with Heritage Oil Company to set up a company that can compete with Ajib and Shell and, if possible, buy over their assets because they are selling. Now, if we succeed in these things, then we will now have opened up another way of employing people. So these are the things we are doing. So embargo, yes, I've already lifted it partially for teachers, for medical doctors and medical staff, and for the engineers and other professionals.
Magistrates. And
yes, we have also recruited the magistrates, and I will be approving some more recruitments in the justice sector also. So you see, it's a monumental problem. No one government, no one state governor can solve it overnight. Now, in addition to that, I think what we also need to challenge ourselves, Johnny, going forward is that not all youths need to be in employment, government employment. We want to encourage them to employ themselves and also be employers of labor. This afternoon, before I came to the studio, I went to commission a supermarket opened by a lady, Mrs. Jitobo, Barbie Supermarket. And I went to encourage her so that we can send out the message that we want more of our people to be self-employed. We're coming up with various programs by which we can support people who have good business plans to be in small and medium scale enterprises. So Johnny, this is the way we are concerned about it, but it's not something that any government, either federal or at state level, can employ every youth. But we need to address it. Thank you.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, your name?
Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon, your name and where you're calling from, please.
I'm Fidelis Akambai by name.
You're
Calling from Ojubo, Delta Coast.
Okay, go on with your
Hello?
question. Go on with your question.
My question goes like this. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, while the governor was speaking, he made mention of transparent education. Am I right?
The governor
Yes,
talked.
sir.
The governor talked about the administration's policy on transparency, and then also talked about the government's policy on education.
Okay, that's a transparency. On education, based on education is what I'm after.
Okay, your
He
question.
made mention, he said, we will, by next year, we will employ teachers for 3 good years, and they will be able to monitor those teachers, whether they are effective for their duties. That is what he said.
Go
For
ahead.
these 3 years, if eventually you employ someone on a teaching job for 3 years, and at the end of 3 years, what will happen to that very teacher?
Well, you have asked a question. First of all, I didn't say we're going to employ people for 3 years before we verify. No. But since you have raised that issue, let me tell you, I said we have directed more employments in the teaching sector to be made, and even more employments for teachers will be made in this state. But I want to employ more teachers. But the teachers I employ are people that will go through teacher training. I want to verify their competencies even before they are deployed. Going forward, by the time we put our Teachers Training Institute to use in the next couple of months, every teacher in the public service of this state will go through that school, because we want to be sure of the competencies they have. We want to be sure that they have the skills and the values, right values, to be entrusted with the future and destiny of our children. So that's what we are going to do. Thank you.
Your Excellency, can we take a look at the administration's policy on infrastructural development, particularly as it affects inner roads? Because the hold-up situation, the traffic situation in Yenagoa could be frustrating sometimes.
Well, you cannot, people can play politics with some of these things if it is convenient for them. But the truth is that you cannot make omelette without breaking eggs. And the average Bayelsan, and let me say majority of Bayelsans and those who mean well for our state and our people are very happy that there is a positive, good reason why there are hold-ups. The good reason is that our roads are being expanded, our roads are being modernized, our road infrastructure is being upgraded in such a way that people sometimes, when these things are finished, they will think, if they are in Bayelsa, they will think they are in Dubai. That is a good reason to have a hold-up. That is a good reason. I have no apologies to anybody for that.
And some of the roads are ready for commission.
No apologies for that. I want to even do more roads. I want to do more roads. Let there be more hold-up, and thereafter the roads will open up, and then we have world-class infrastructure. That is not one apology I'm prepared to make. I want more and more roads done. I just wish that more would come, because now that the major roads have been opened up, I want to open up more of the inner roads. I want these roads, these narrow walkways, these are bush paths. These are not the roads I want to see in our state capital. You see, I love this state. I love our people. And I do what I do with the best intentions. And I don't hide about what I want to do. I know that there's a price for development. The other day, you all saw how my own building was brought down. The building I built, put up when I was in the house, was put up, was pulled down. Not because it was an infringement on any original plan, no. But with the expansion of the Opolo, that road, it became necessary for us to pull down some of the structures. And mine had to be pulled down. And I said, go ahead. It wasn't an illegal building, but I said, go ahead. So people should be prepared to make the necessary sacrifice. Pay the price for development. That's what happened in every developed place. People paid the price. And people were also patient. And they were also encouraging. So I need encouragement. I want people to exercise patience. Not complain. I'm doing roads, and then people are saying, hold up. How will you have good roads if we don't construct good roads? How will good roads be constructed if there's no temporary inconvenience? So you can't eat your cake and have it. Our people should also not be like the proverbial tortoise. You are praying for work. You are praying for development. You are praying for security. You are praying for a governor that will come and perform, that will come and develop his. And here am I, by your prayers. I'm there doing that, and you are saying, oh, he's doing so much. He's hold up on the road. I want more hold up. Be prepared for more hold up. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, I'm calling from Male.
Okay, your name, sir.
My name is Jordan History.
Come again, please.
I want to thank the HLSC for the good work that we are doing.
Jordan.
And secondly, I want to tell the governor to improve the airport project for the airport to go to that airport, that land. And the airport land, the compensation money are not received right from February, when the assessment went there. And all the time we are going to the Ministry of Land, using the commissioner for work. To the people concerned, the whole three local governments comprising the Nedua, Council and Joe and the Tulu government, they use that land. Yes, but they are able to get people on that land, you cannot go into that bridge. So we are asking the governor to do something about the payment. Tell that payment, the people who are using that land, but in fact, we are tired. Going to the ministry, to the land, nothing is coming out. So please,
Okay, Mr. Jordan.
Governor, we love the project, but let him do something about that payment, the compensation money.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jordan. Your Excellency is talking about the
Oh yes,
airport project.
yeah, Jordan, thank you very much. Thanks for your encouragement for the project. That project is very, very important to the future of our state. We are trying to open up our state to the rest of the world. That's a project that's very dear to our hearts. I am aware of this issue of compensation. Now I thought I'd made approvals, but I'm surprised that it hasn't gone down the road. You know, government has a procedure and a system. Even when I approve of something, it takes a procedure. And since I am a governor of due process, the civil servants sometimes push it to my face that we are following due process. And I have no option than to allow them follow due process. So maybe it's been delayed, but you just note that your compensation, any compensation that is due any landowner, will be paid, subject to our policy on payment of compensation. We have a government policy that has pegged the compensation receivable. That is in the interest of everybody, because we can't spend all our money paying compensation. So we have pegged how much we're going to pay, and I want to thank all land owning families and communities for their understanding. What we have been paying, we will continue to pay what is due you. Thank you.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Yes. Please move away from your radio set.
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Your name, sir?
Hello?
Yes, your name, sir?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, your name, sir?
We really appreciate what the governor is doing in the state in connection with education. But the past government is owing teachers on promotion, arrears, and 18,000 minimum wage difference. So please, My name is Agada Shedran, the chairman, Association of Primary School Teachers by State. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A teacher.
Thank you very much. You know, I've always told you people that you are the most important public officers in this state. The teachers, those of you in the education sector. As a matter of fact, you people, your headmasters and principals should expect an invitation from me very soon for a dinner in your honor. Because all of us are what we are because of what our teachers did to us. So you are very, very important. Now, you know, we had a lot of issues that I inherited. And we are working hard while trying to show a difference, to also try and sort out some of these problems that existed before me. For example, this issue of payment of arrears, and also the issue of gratuity arrears. These are not good things, but somehow they happen. And I want to thank all of you for the patience you have shown. Let me say that I have interactions regularly with your leaders, and I've made some commitments in that respect. We will do something, because you see, the type of government we run, we are not able to do anything if we don't have a budget for it. You know, and the budget year has ended. So I want to see what I can do, work with the House of Assembly, so that we can provide for some of these things in next year's budget, the issue of arrears. But there are other arrears which we are also trying to clear, like the gratuity and pensioners arrears. It was very sad that other governments before me allowed pensioners who had put in the best of their years to serve us to go without any payment. And when I came up, I was so concerned, set up a committee, and the committee came with a staggering bill of almost 4 billion naira. And you will agree with me, and all pensioners know, that we cannot close down government just to pay pension arrears. So we are now releasing monies gradually. I'm saving money every month. Once it has built up to a point, I pay. I've issued 500 million. I think they're in the process of getting it through the system, and in no distant time, it will hit the accounts of those who will be selected. I trust that those who are running that program will also do a thorough job, a fair job, but also believe that work with them, tell your members to work with them, because it's not possible for them to pay everybody with even these releases. But as we do so regularly, as money is coming and as we save, I'm sure with time we'll be able to clear the backlog. So the issue of arrears, yes, we will attend to it. Thank you.
Your Excellency, this program is like climbing to the top of the Iroko tree. They say get all you can before you come down. There are so many people. The phone lines are buzzing, and as you can see. So let's take more of the calls.
Okay.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, please do us a favor. Either you turn down the volume of your radio set or you walk away from your radio set.
It has been done, sir.
Okay, so let's take your question.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you. First, your name. What's your name, sir?
Okay, my name is Hilary. I'm calling from Kulu in Biafra State.
Okay, Hilary, go ahead with your question.
Greetings to my Excellency, sir. My questions are, number one, please, sir, I know about the light in the city software argument. For some time now, we are in blackout.
Yeah. Yes.
We don't know the problem about us. People are so many things, but thank God you are here. We want to hear reliably from you. Secondly, I want to say this as a kind of advice. Project, giving our contract or project is something, but another thing is, when giving the project, after giving the project, monitoring the project, make sure that it is done with an offer that it should be done, so that the aim of the project will be actualized. That is another thing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Hilary. Yes, first of all, the light situation in the Ogbe axis arising from the situation in our gas turbine. Yes, I'm aware. It's an unfortunate situation. Again, these are the accumulated problems we are trying to clear. This state has invested so much money, billions of naira in procuring gas turbines and so on. But these were allowed to rot away. You won't believe, Hillary, what has happened to this state. If we tell people what we now know about what went on in this state, there are people who will be, in fact, it will be a terrible thing. But we only have to address these problems and not talk. The sad thing is that we are not talking, and yet some people who should hide their heads in shame are talking. This state government has used billions of naira procuring gas turbines, but people just allow them to rot away. Now I have to now look for money, billions again, to put in to even refurbish them. So, but don't worry, we have now developed a plan. I was briefed that the Imiringi power station had a problem because it was due for servicing and it has not been done. So the thing has packed up. And I've made an approval from the scarce resources we have, in spite of all that we are doing. I've made an approval of almost 150, 200 million for them to send it to the manufacturers immediately for them to correct it and bring it back. And I'm told that it will take some couple of weeks, as you would understand, for that to be done. I want them to fix that up before we get into the Christmas season. So that is the situation. However, like generally, we are connecting a lot of communities in this state, in our government. A lot of communities are connected to the national grid. So many communities. I don't want to mention until we do the commissioning early next year. You will see how many communities now that will enjoy power. And we're also working on a program of refurbishing all our gas pipelines and installing all the turbines. Then you talked about project monitoring. Yes, you are right. We have a mechanism for monitoring projects. Projects are many. And I know that the monitoring team is also not resting. I know that they go everywhere, across the nooks and crannies, and even beyond the state monitoring committee. I also set up interdepartmental committees. And the commissioners and their teams are also doing their best. Where we notice problems in the execution, we take appropriate actions. Thank you very much. But all of you have a duty to also monitor and take care of projects in your communities and in your areas. And where there are concerns, let us know. Thank you.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes. This is Radio Bielsa. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Yes, this is Glory FM 97.1.
Yeah, whatever.
Yes, and we have His Excellency Governor HSDickson, countryman governor, in the studio.
Yeah. I'm Barry Aratana, from Kayama.
Your question, sir.
All right. First of all, I appreciate everything the governor is saying for us as teachers. We are seeing all the things on ground. My question is this. There was a time they said they want to give all teachers laptops in order to enhance our performance or make everybody have a laptop. They came with forms and we filled those forms, and after everything, later heard that they will bring the laptop and they will be getting 5,000 naira from our salary for about 2 years, of which there was an uproar, and I think that matter is just ended. And for me, I used my own money. I bought my laptop. I'm teaching at ROPMS to Kayama.
Good.
Teaching for my 5 children with my own personal laptop.
Good.
And I'm doing great.
Yes.
That's one question. When are those things coming for that job to have them? Secondly, I love the profession. They are professionals like every other profession. I don't know when they will start giving us maybe some little loans. I mean, to see teachers going about driving cars like their counterparts in every other profession. The highest the headmaster can have the machine and Okada, of which it is not going down well with teachers.
Okay, thank you very much.
The governor will help to better our living. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Barry. I want to commend your dedication and your selflessness and what you have done. That is the story of what is possible in Bielsa. I'm very pleased with you, and I know that there are a few others like you in the system. But ultimately, I would want every teacher to be as dedicated as Barry. I want to thank you for that. I'm not going to approve any supply and deduction from your salaries. I think I ordered that is not acceptable. And I'm happy that you are reporting to me that it was stopped. I gave an order that I don't allow that. If we know that it's good to encourage our teachers to be computer literate, because we are also emphasizing computer literacy on the part of the students and your pupils. Going forward, I would like to see a situation where pupils of our schools, public schools, by the time they are leaving public schools to secondary school, they have some basic computer literacy. That is the ideal we want to achieve. I'm actually working with a lot of people to bring that about. I'm thinking of a situation where once the resources are organized and mobilized and the arrangements are set, we will find a way of getting those things, equipments to teachers. But that's one thing that by the time our teachers go to the Teachers Training Institute on refresher course, they will be taught there. So we will get them to understudy those things and then see how we can support them. But that will take some time. For now, our focus is the physical infrastructure, which you are seeing in most of the schools. I've made approvals for benches and more school chairs to be provided. You know, there was no investment in this area. We were just running a Ministry of Education without looking at these things. And the flood of last year also did havoc and destroyed even the few that were there. So I've made lots of approvals. Very soon we'll flood all our schools with chairs and benches for our pupils and students and for the staff. Once we attend to those basic things, then we will now move to the next level. I'm sure by next year we'll be able to come up with a policy on that. Thank you.
Your Excellency, before we take the next phone call, what's the policy on the Yenagoa new city? How far has it gone?
Well, the new Yenagoa city is really where we are looking at. Is the future of our state. As we speak, we have concluded surveys of an area that's it was slightly more than 15,000 hectares, spanning from Tombia, from the river Non, actually, from that down to Kole Creek, Bebelebri, and all those areas, encompassing even the castle. You know, the castle is now coming up as Nigeria's 6-star hotel. The castle that was formerly governor's residence is now a hotel. In the next couple of months, work will be completed and it will take off. 22 presidential suites and other rooms, so it's fantastic. So the whole of that axis, where you have the polo club, you have the golf club, and then the golf estates, and then all those facilities are going to be part of that area. So it's going to be a planned area, to be planned and developed according to the plans and the designs. And I'm going to inaugurate a team that will be chaired by Chief Alivey, to mobilize private sector capital to drive that development. You see, if you see Dubai, Dubai everybody's calling. Dubai was not built with the resources from the Emirates alone. No. They created the environment and then did the right marketing and built the right partnerships. And then the next is history. People brought their funds from everywhere to buy land, to develop houses, to build it. That's what we want to see happen in Bayelsa. That's why we are deliberately invested in security, and I want to use this opportunity to congratulate all Bayelsans. We are rated in this country as one of the safest places to stay, to live, and do business. As a matter of fact, this weekend, early next week in South Africa, I'm expected to be there to receive an award on security. Of all state governors who were selected. And it's one of the few awards that was given from the West African axis. They gave to Bayelsa.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And to myself and to Operation Doakpo. So I want to commend Bayelsans. I want to dedicate that award to you all because you are all part of it. I want to also congratulate the officers and men of Operation Doakpo and to all our law enforcement officers and men for making that happen. So once we have a safe climate and we have the right policies, the new Yenagoa city will just be it.
Your Excellency, you have this pursuing tourism development with some level of aggression. We can recall the most beautiful girl in Nigeria pageant, the AMA award, and then several others. Why do you have this passion for tourism?
Well, thank you very much. Because we have to diversify the base of our economy. And the two areas we need to use to diversify, create wealth, and brand our state, and so it's tourism and agriculture. Agriculture, we're doing a lot. Maybe next time when I come, we can talk more about that. But we're doing so much in agriculture. Tourism is critical for us going forward because we want Bayelsa to be the foremost tourism haven. And we're gradually getting there. And I'm not a frivolous person. People who know me know me. For me to make some approvals and talk to private sector partners to work with us to sponsor these things, people should know that there is reason for doing it. I'm not even somebody who attends parties. So if I'm organizing these type of festivals and other things, you should know that it's for the overall good of the state, because I'm not a party man. Now, I want Bayelsa to be in a position where at every time, in every month, the whole world is coming to Bayelsa. The whole world is talking about Bayelsa. The whole world, not just Nigeria, the whole world is looking at what is happening in Bayelsa. We are gradually getting there. People talk about us beyond the shores of Bayelsa, beyond the shores of Nigeria, and that's the way to go. And we have achieved this within this short period, putting Bayelsa on the world tourism map. Now, this month, we're going to, in pursuance of this objective, we're going to also have the Caribbean, African, American, and Nigerian music festival, where music stars from all these continents, America, Caribbean, Africa, Nigerian music stars, will assemble in Bayelsa. Everybody is talking about Bayelsa, Bayelsa, Bayelsa. And the business part of this is that I want to challenge our people to take advantage of this. We have a safe environment that people now appreciate. So invest in tourism development. If you want to produce small souvenirs and sell, people who are coming are going to buy. We go as tourists to other places, and those are the things to go buy. You want to weave our local things and sell to people, you make money. You want to invest in hotels, because very soon we're grading all our hotels. The hotels are also going to make a lot of money. I want Bayelsa business people to make money, because the duty of government is to create the environment and encourage our people to be prosperous. It is when they are prosperous they pay tax. Let me also emphasize this. I want the hotels, I want people to make money, but when these visitors come every month and they stay in the hotels, I want the hotels to collect the tourism levies, because that is where government also makes money. There are countries in this world that make all their money, all their entire GDP is from tourism levy.
Like Kenya.
Like Kenya. Lagos is doing it, Calabar is doing it. That is the way we are going. Very soon, once the tax regime that I'm proposing in the tourism bill is passed and I sign it into law, we will have the machines right there in every hotel that is accredited. When the guests come, they collect our levy and they remit to us. There will be penalty for not doing so. So I want more hotels to spring up. I want more Bayelsans to come and invest in Bayelsa. You don't need to go to Abuja. You don't need to go to Dubai. You don't need to go to any other place to invest. Some Bayelsans have hotels in Calabar. Come to Bayelsa. Come to Yenagoa. Because what you are looking for in Sokoto now, we have brought it to you in your Sokoto. So come and invest. Build the hotels, build the businesses in Bayelsa, and pay tax to your government. Create wealth. Create jobs for our people. And that's why we have also set up the tourism training school, which I will open also in the next 1 or 2 months. It's ready. Where we want to train middle-level tourism practitioners, people who can cook, attend to people, young girls, young boys who know how to attend to people. Because with the boom in tourism coming, if I don't provide that way, you will see there is other people that will come and flood this place. So I want Bayelsans to get ready for the boom that God has taken over this state. Let me tell you people, God has taken over this state. That is our belief. So be part of this reign of prosperity, of stability, security, and development.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes, your name and where you're calling from. Your name, please.
Sir, this,
Hello?
hearing,
Hello? Your name, please.
I'm Matthew Sanchez.
Matthew.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead with your question.
We are hearing the government wants to do that Royal FM, which Abudama has. And we are the belly, where and Aritali. Our road, I don't know what the government is doing about it.
I will know where that road is the first I was thinking that was addressed. The first road that was addressed in Bayelsa, but it was not completed. I don't know why the government is not doing something about it. Secondly, the second question I want to ask is, we at the airport, we have a land at this airport. The compensation, because the government went and got the assessment, to assess the land, and the compensation. I don't know what the government is doing and what is going on. And we don't know. The Excellency should put more light on it.
All right, thank you very much, Matthew. I think Matthew is your name.
Yeah, said Matthew.
Yes. First, let me tell you about the land compensation matter. I had addressed it before. The Ministry of Lands is handling it. They have a department that is competent, that has very experienced people. And once they have the approvals, the money that I have approved, they will start the process of paying compensation. If you are not covered in the first one, don't worry, be patient. Once you are the genuine owner, don't worry yourself. We are going to pay the compensation, so be patient. No landowner will be denied compensation. And nobody needs to go and stop work. Don't go near any construction site, because that will not tolerate that. Just go there, establish your claims, and we will attend to it. We will not ignore you. Then you talked about road. Yes, we are selecting 15 roads, 15 inner roads to start with. It's not just Aretalin is one of them, because when I had a meeting with the chiefs, they mentioned that Aretalin and Gwegwe and so on. Your chiefs mentioned to me, and I've been involved. I know most of your chiefs, I know most of your stakeholders, and I've also been going around Yenagoa. I have sufficient knowledge of Yenagoa myself before becoming governor. So I know the roads that are priority to our people. You talked about the Royal FM road. That road existed a long time ago. The plan to construct a road had been there for a long time. It's just that people, out of impunity, went to put a building and a radio station where in an area that was marked as a road. Ask the community leaders. Is it Agodama community? Ask the Agodama community. They will let you know that that is the situation. Now, we have issued notices to all that will be impacted. Just the same way my own house was brought down, we expect that people should also bear with us. We must make a sacrifice for the development of our state. All those roads, we can't do all at the same time. But we're selecting 15, about 15, because it has to do with management of scarce resources. So we are doing that. People should not play politics. This is a state where everybody is politics. Every little thing you do is politics. Somebody does not come to work, you sack him, it's politics. Somebody is doing payroll fraud, you sack him and police arrest him, it's politics. Everything you do is politics. They politicize any and everything, because the major occupation of people is politics. Even youth, young people that should be facing their education is politics. So we are not playing politics with development. I've said that over and over, and I'm not somebody that will be intimidated also by politicization of an issue. I have a responsibility to keep focused on development, and I'm not swayed by that. I can't be intimidated by, I can't be stopped from doing what is right. So the issue you raised about Aretelin and Gwegwe and all those issues are going to be taken care of. Thank you.
Your Excellency, I'm going to ask this question, but certainly it has no political undertone. The NBC, which is the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, wants all broadcast media outfits in the country to go digital as from 2015. Now, Radio Bayelsa is operating on analog. Niger Delta Television is also operating an analog system. Sir, are you sure we can meet that deadline?
Well, that's an issue that has been brought to my attention, and we are working on it. I know the importance of these outlets that you talked about, and I want to assure all of you who are working in these institutions that you will not be left high and dry. We are even likely to achieve a conversion even before the deadline runs out. I want to give you that assurance that we are prepared to make the necessary investments in this area to enable compliance with appropriate regulations. Right.
Yes, sir. So let's take the last call for. Is it so many people have been trying to call, but for the governor to spend more than an hour out of office and being in the studio, I think we need to applaud the governor. But let's just take this last call, then we'll call it a day with His Excellency. Hello?
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 Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening. Your name, sir?
I'm with the Kumar, DBC,
Mr.
from
Ebisi.
the Blue community.
Okay, Mr. Ebisi, what's your question, please?
First of all, thank God Almighty and the governor in person for the security work he has done in Bayelsa State. In fact, after the vote, is the best governor of security all over Nigeria. Hello?
I'm with you, sir.
Okay.
The governor is listening.
Security work in a state is very, very difficult. And he has done something by bringing this operation to Akbar.
Mr. Ebisi. Hello? Hello? Please, go straight to your question.
My question is, it's a problem, in fact, that I need the governor to solve. This operation to Akbar 15, it's like the boys working there are not all that are being paid regularly. And most of the vehicles they are using are not in good condition. Especially the back of some vehicles are empty. They sit down with their bond on the bed, body like that. And the system, the payment system, I was made to understand it was...
Sir, Mr. Ebisi, what do you want His Excellency to do? What do you want His Excellency to do?
6 weeks before they pay.
Okay, what do you want His Excellency to do?
To at least put eye on the security aspect of the state.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, come on, thank you very much. What I can tell you is that Doakwa is not starved of funds. Doakwa is not, in fact, they have the most modern and scientific methods that they use in combating crime to keep all of us safe. And as you all know, it takes only about 2 to 3 minutes maximum for Doakwa to answer any distress calls, and that is record. I see the reports every morning because it is computerized. I know the areas distress calls are made. I know the type of crimes that people try to commit, the crimes that are foiled, and the time that it takes them to get to a scene of crime. All of that is recorded by the computer and printed and given to me every morning. So I have an idea of what they are doing and the type of situation that they confront. Well, you have raised an issue which I will raise with the commanders on ground, but I can assure you that we are making appropriate investments in that area, and to the best of my knowledge and briefings that I have got, while we cannot say that human operations and human beings are perfect, what I can say that generally speaking, they are both bored, their commanders are very upright and selfless and dedicated, and generally they are doing a good job. But I've noted what you have said, and I will call for comments on that. But they have the equipment that they need to work with. They have more vehicles than any other law enforcement system in this by any state. And if they have needs, if they have requirements, I know that their commanders will get across to me, and I will forthwith attend to it. I want to also thank you all for your concern on the welfare of our law enforcement officers, because that's the right thing to do. And let me also thank our people for the support and for the collective work we have done on security. Let us keep it that way. And talk to our youths. Talk to our youths, particularly those who want to be political. They should not use any guise to commit any crime, because we will not tolerate it. We will not tolerate it. Let our elders and parents caution their youths that this government has a zero tolerance policy on crime, criminality, and violence and brigandage. Once we see it, we will not condone it, and people should not send people to beg anybody. This is a time to call them to order, because we all have a stake in our collective security. We're all enjoying security. So let's work hard to keep it that way. Thank you. Come on.
Well, for more than an hour, we've been talking with His Excellency, the countryman governor, Governor Henry Dickson, on our maiden program, new program, the Hot Seat. This is the first edition, and His Excellency the Governor has flagged it off. And we expect the Governor to, from this moment, issue directive to all government functionaries to come on this program to give a scorecard of what they are doing. His Excellency, you may issue the directive on the microphone.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm responding to your own directive. You have first issued the directive to me, and here am I dutifully complying with your directive. Now, I think that going forward, quite frankly, I mean, on a serious note, I would like to be briefed about a roster. I would like all commissioners and all others in my government who have relevant rules and explanations to make to our people to appear regularly on this program. And the public should have access to be able to interact with them. There should be an interactive program. Not only am I saying that they should appear, I'm also going to direct and hereby direct the Commissioner for Information to ensure that I'm appropriately briefed about the schedules. I want officials to appear on this program and then explain their stewardship to the people of this state, and I want to be briefed about the roster. On my own part, I take primary responsibility for the actions and inactions and failures. It is when there is success, it is our collective success. But when there are failures and when there are problems, I'm aware that I take primary responsibility and I don't run away from that. I will also be available to appear on this program as often as my time and convenience and your convenience also permits. As a matter of fact, I would like to appear here on a monthly basis if my convenience and your time permits. But in between, I would like my officials to appear regularly and interact with you, and through you interact with the people that we are serving. We are the servants of the people, not the other way around. The duty of the people is to constantly pray and support us and work with us. Ours is to do all we can to advance our collective interests. And that's what we are doing. For now, I want to say thank you very much for everything.